We just updated our rest of season rankings. Let's break down some pitchers up next on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5 on Thursday, May 16th. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by Scott White, and let's rank 3 pitchers. Could be out there in some shallower leagues, very shallow leagues. Bryan Woo pitched well against the Royals, 5 1/3 innings, 1 run, 5 strikeouts in that one. Velocity looks fine, coming back from that elbow injury. Taj Bradley was solid at the Red Sox, 5 innings, 2 runs, 6 strikeouts for him. The fastball velocity down a little bit compared to his first start, but still pitched well in that one. And Javier Assad, a name that we have not talked much about. He has a 1.49 ERA and a 1.03 whip, just through 6 shutout innings with 7 strikeouts at the Atlanta Braves. Scott, how are you ranking Woo, Bradley, Assad?
Okay, I'm going to rank them exactly as you listed them off there, Woo, Bradley, and Assad. But, you know, there are things I like and dislike about all 3, I would say. Woo gets the top spot partly because I liked him most in the first place, and he hasn't done anything to fall out of favor with me, except, that first start back from the IL, he left with tightness in the forearm area, and that kind of raised an eyebrow for everyone. Haven't heard any reports about it being the case in the second start, and the results were fine. So hopefully Woo is trending the right direction. Taj Bradley, his velocity was way up in his first start back from the IL. It was closer to normal this time out. So maybe there was a lot of adrenaline that first time. This start, like I said, closer to normal. The exceptions were the cutter and the splitter. Those were both up 1 mile per hour, about a mile per hour from last year. It was more like 2 in the first start. But the point is, Taj Bradley, even if you look at during his minor league rehab assignment, that cutter, he seems to be throwing it harder this year, and maybe that will help key a breakthrough for a pitcher who, top prospect pedigree for Taj Bradley. So wouldn't it be surprising to see him take a step forward in year 2. Assad is probably the most interesting here with that 1.49 ERA, because you look at all the underlying data, the ways we normally measure talent for a pitcher, and there's just not a lot to get excited about. The swinging strike rate is awful. The strikeout rate is nothing special. Even the quality of contact is middling. And he allows a lot of fly balls. A big reason why Assad has that 1.49 ERA is because only 2 of those fly balls have turned into home runs. So maybe that's just good fortune that is bound to end. I'd lean that way, but I will point out that the league context as a whole right now is not so favorable for home runs. In fact, if you think back to 2022, which was not a great year for home runs either, we were referring to a deadened baseball that year. Well, the home run to fly ball rate that year was 11.4% in 2022. Came back up last year. We thought we were out of the woods there. But this year it's 10.8% so far. It's even lower than 2022. So a lot of fly balls are turning into outs instead of home runs, more than any of us playing fantasy can remember happening in the past, really. And it's worth pointing out that April, we've only had 1 full month. April, it's always the worst month for offense, always the worst month for home runs. And as we get into the summer, I expect the home run to fly ball rate to increase, but it's really low right now, and Assad may be able to continue something close to the trick that he's performed so far if that doesn't drastically change.
Let's wrap up with one more pitcher, Michael King. Are you kidding me, man? Last week he goes out, he throws 7 shutout innings with 11 strikeouts against the Dodgers, and that was on everybody's bench in fantasy. Then this week, he gets the Rockies on the road in San Diego, a home start, great matchup. What does he do? Yep. He gives up 6 runs against the Rockies. 5 1/3 innings, 7 strikeouts, still had 13 swinging strikes, limited the hard contact. Under the hood, it actually looks like it was a solid start, but the numbers don't lie here, Scott. It's a 4.31 ERA, a 1.36 whip for Michael King. He's still 91% rostered. He's 74% started with 2 starts next week against the Yankees and at the Reds. What do we do with Michael King?
I think he's pretty fringy at this point. It's not like he has a long track record of success as a starter. He's walking a lot of guys this year. He entered this start having allowed the most home runs in baseball in a year when not many pitchers are allowing home runs so far, as I just pointed out. So that start against the Dodgers, obviously, it was very impressive. The movement on all of his pitches was up. Kind of returned to normal in this start, so that may have just been a blip there for Michael King. I'm not saying he's must drop or anything, but he's right around 80th in my starting pitcher rankings rest of season. So in shallower leagues, if you got like a Taj Bradley out there, or even like a Christian Scott, there's a chance he's out there still, and I'd be happy to drop King for him in that case, just because I don't have a lot of confidence in what's going to come next from this guy. Doesn't have the kind of track record that justifies it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I think that's totally fair. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the Odyssey app, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5, and we will be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.